Hello, welcome, fellow travelers to Fate's Wide Wheel, and I am joined this time around by the one and only J.J. Lendl. J.J., thank you for being here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. As always, thank you for having me, Sam.
My pleasure. It's an exciting time to do it because we have a couple of announcements, and I think we'll just kick right off with the fact that there's a new logo for Fate's Wide Wheel. And it is courtesy of JJ. In fact, I will share that with you all right now, so you can get a good look at it. It is um, already out there, so some of you have probably already seen it, but I wanted to kind of just get it out into the open and start after the SAG after strike had ended, because it felt like it was the perfect natural time to change all of that stuff, on Twitter and Instagram, etc. I love it. Obviously, it harkens back to the classic series and the gummy bear hand link. JJ, do you want to talk a little bit about the design of it?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. It was a pleasure to create for the show. I I'm happy with how it turned out. If you're familiar with my work, you know that I like simplicity, and so I wanted to keep it simple. And that's always best for logos as well. So I like that it harkens back to the classic series, but I also like that it's just sort of interesting from a graphic design perspective. So even if you don't get get the reference. It's still, I think, an interesting design. It's got a lot of color. It's got some vintage vibes, which I think matches the tone of your program. And yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to to give something back to the show, and I'm just so happy that you're happy with it.
Yeah, I really am. And it was one of those things that, I had been thinking about doing something like this for a little bit anyway. And then, you and we were talking about it. You were like, well, let me show you something. And, and so the fact that it just sort of happened so organically and so naturally, and it had been on my mind, and that you had, kind of already come up with some ideas. I mean, it was touching, honestly. I was so pleased with it. And I showed it to Jessica right away, and she loved it. And it was funny because obviously she's seen the classic series, but her initial reaction was like, "Oh, I really love that," and I was like, "Do you get it?" And she's like, "No," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But no, I love the way that the letters are obviously included, and it feels right, and obviously it also gets me away from using copyrighted images that
Nice.
that luckily had not earned me a cease and desist from NBC Universal at any point in time. Thank you to them.
Right.
But no, I'm just very grateful, and I cannot wait to plaster this thing everywhere from here on out. So
Nice. Yes. Yeah, it's exciting.
but you know what the cool thing is that's not all, because there's actually another design that kind of goes hand in hand with this one, and that you'll see on YouTube. You'll see it for the banners on Twitter and etc., that sort of stuff. And it's this beautiful just this beautiful screen image collage, if you will, of the clocks, while also having the title of the show. And again, one of the things that I love about both images is that they certainly play into the relationship that Fate's Wide Wheel has with Quantum Leap, obviously, but they also stand on their own and separate enough that when the show goes other places, it makes sense as well. Do you want to talk about this one at all?
Yeah, I mean, to what you were saying, that's sort of the thesis of the refresh, right? And as you and I were discussing that and discussing sort of the concepts, this clock concept was kind of a secondary logo idea, sort of an alt take. But the more we were talking, the more it felt like, well, if we could create a little bit more of a package here that celebrates the origins of the podcast and the connection to Quantum Leap, but also allows the show to go in different directions, whether it be genre or, just talking about television and film. And the fact that it's, in many ways, it looks to the past, different television, different films, bringing in that vintage feel, that retro vibe. So that's sort of where the mindset was with that. And then just sort of, having fun. My most favorite projects that I work on are the ones where there's a collaboration like we have, where I kind of have a free hand and we just sort of have an understanding of what the assignment is, and then can just kind of have fun with it. And so that's what I was doing with certainly this one, having fun with some of these assets here.
Yeah, I mean it shows through, and I love the use of color. I love again the retro vibe that they both have, and it does fit Fate's Wide Wheel quite well. So I'm just super excited, and I'm thrilled to be able to get even more feedback. I know I shared the logo in the Discord server, which if you're a Patreon member, you get an invite to the Discord server, and the cool thing about that is everybody loved it, and of course everybody at the Discord server got the link to the classic series right away. So
Take
now
that,
that it's
Jessica.
but now that it's kind of it's out there at large, it's really cool because the opportunity to get even more feedback and hopefully just have an image that people will immediately attach to the show going forward, and that it can have that kind of iconic feel for this little old podcast.
Yeah.
Is
No, I mean it's
exactly what
such
I
a
want.
pleasure, and I'm so glad. I didn't realize that it was shared in the Discord. I'm so glad that people are liking it. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously after this goes out, people will be even more aware of it, which I'm really looking forward to hearing what folks think. But it doesn't end there, of course, because part of of this new kind of rebranding, if you will, is also the opportunity to do some new fun stuff, and that includes even more collaboration between you and I, which I'm really looking forward to. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and just kind of what we're thinking, especially as far as like the store goes?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of part of the collaboration between Fate's Wide Wheel and Studio J.J. has been a refresh of some logo branding for the podcast and a little website refresh. So if you go to fateswidewheel.com, you're going to see a new kind of simple landing page there with all the links that you would need to listen to the show, to watch on YouTube, check out the most recent video, but also a new storefront, which is dedicated to Fate's Wide Wheel, and a lot of fun sort of film and television inspired stuff, which I've been really, really excited to partner with the podcast on. And you know the the art that you just saw, some of the new logos. There's going to be some apparel that features that if you're interested in supporting the collaboration there, which is exciting. And there'll be new stuff all the time popping up there too, which is pretty cool. And that kind of speaks to, I think, what you were describing to me as the direction that the show may take coming soon. So, I mean, I'd love to hear more about that, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we're getting into that time of year. We knew that there were 8 episodes filmed prior to the strike, and luckily the SAG after strike has resolved, and it does look like they're going to resume filming on or by November 27th, which is really cool. So episode 9 will start shooting around then. But that said, there's going to be quite a few weeks of downtime, and rather than fill that with either rehashed conversations about prior episodes or anything like that, I really thought that it was the perfect time to kind of like just take the shackles off, let the show be free to go wherever it wants to go, and talk about anything that just really strikes my fancy, quite frankly. And the cool thing is that there's going to be well, maybe not so cool depending on your point of view, I suppose. There is going to be a break between episode 6, Secret History, and episode 7 and 8, and that'll basically cover over the week of the Thanksgiving holiday and the following week, so 2 weeks with no quantum leap. And as far as I'm aware anyway. And so it really made a lot of sense that for our next episode, and I say our because JJ will be joining me on this episode, that we kind of pay homage to the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and we're going to be talking a bit about Doctor Who and specifically the Daleks, the classic serial, because that is the episode that they'll be airing on the BBC in honor of the anniversary. And it's interesting because they've colorized the story, and they've cut it down to 75 minutes, which kind of boggles my mind because it was a long story. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, we're not going to be talking specifically about that actual story because we won't have seen it yet when we record, but we do have something else pretty cool cooked up, and I think maybe you should tell listeners and viewers about that.
Yeah, so we thought it'd be fun for an episode like this, going a little off the beaten path of Quantum Leap, to use the new storefront as an opportunity to offer an exclusive print for this upcoming Daleks-centric episode of Fate's Wide Wheel. So we'll be offering a limited edition print of a design that I created, inspired by the original Daleks serial. And I guess we could show the art here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's see here. I can do that. This is a design that I recently put together, and just for some background, I've been a Doctor Who fan for a long time, and it's funny, talking about, them cutting down the episode for the new telecast.
Yeah.
Any longtime Doctor Who fans, especially fans of the original series, will be like, I could see that. I think
yeah.
I think they could probably find a way to do that.
I think I want to say the runtime is 7 episodes, so the runtime would have to be like 180 minutes or something like that. If you watch the serial, the black and white serial as it was originally put together. So it's interesting to know that they're shaving off like 100 minutes. But again, like you said, I could certainly see that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and it was also the basis for one of the Peter Cushing films. Well, the first Peter Cushing film, actually. It was the basis
absolutely.
for that. So in a way, the story has already been trimmed down before,
right.
To fit a different format. So it'll be, again, I just think it'll be really interesting to see also the colorization, what that's going to look like.
That's what I'm really fascinated about, the colorization, because I've seen colorized photos,
Mm-hmm.
that folks have done over the years from the Hartnell era. But to see an entire episode, professionally colorized, I think is going to be jaw-dropping. But
Yeah.
here, without
right,
any further ado here, let's see if I can get this to come up. If it comes up wrong, we can fix it in post.
That's right.
So yeah, this is a piece that I put together. I shared it on social media probably about a month ago, just in anticipation of this big 60th anniversary that Doctor Who is celebrating this month. But this is something that we're going to make available in conjunction with the Daleks episode, through that new Fates Wide Wheel storefront, through fateswidewheel.com. So I'm really excited to be able to make this available for fans of the podcast, Doctor Who fans, and we'll have more info on the print when that episode debuts. But that's something that's coming, and I'm hoping that this is something that we can collab on and have more prints that are inspired by podcast episodes available when it makes sense.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that's the thing that I think I'm so excited about. And I will freely admit, I mentioned this to you the other day, off mic, about how I was excited to choose some of these things just because I wanted to see what you were going to come up with. So I already have a few things in mind. And we've talked about a couple of things, and I think it's going to be great because it certainly will dovetail nicely with things that I've already discussed prior on the podcast about wanting to cover and wanting to talk about. But it's also going to, I think, go in some very unique directions and places that I haven't talked about, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I think there'll be the opportunity, certainly, through the Patreon, to see even more behind the scenes material, but also perhaps maybe even get a voice in what we talk about, and and by way of that, what JJ will end up working on. So there'll be a lot of cool opportunities to do that and kind of have even more engagement in the future. through the Patreon, but also, of course, with the store, with the website, with the logos, and with these videos, like you'll be seeing, right now, and obviously with the Daleks episode coming over the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who week, that'll be a lot of fun. But again, there's going to be a lot of downtime between now and when the next two episodes air, and then obviously after that there will probably be a good 6 weeks or so where we don't have anything, so there'll be plenty of opportunities to talk about other stuff, which I'm really, really looking forward to.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and of course, all of that said, we definitely want to talk a little bit about Quantum Leap, because this will be dropping before Secret History airs. However, we have both seen the episode, and so I think to be as spoiler free as possible, JJ, what were your impressions of the episode?
I thought, by the end of the episode, I thought, wow, this is a contender for certainly best of the season. But for me, I don't know, it just ticked a lot of boxes for me. It ticked a
Yeah.
lot of Quantum Leap boxes. It ticked a lot of genre TV boxes. And it just ticked a lot of really fun storytelling boxes, because I thought it was a fun episode that went a lot of places, had great performances. I thought the writing was really great and tight, great direction. I loved the
Mm-hmm.
setting. I really loved everything about this episode. And again, it was a really fun episode from my perspective to design an episode poster for,
Yes.
which was really fun to do. So to be able to see the
Yeah.
episode and then, get right in and work on that poster and get it together was really fun.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I will let listeners in on a little tidbit here, that we had talked about doing this Friday night, not recording it Friday night, excuse me, but we talked about recording this on a Sunday evening, and we were talking on Friday night. And at that point, you hadn't actually seen the episode yet, and I could tell that there was just a little bit of like question of like, will I have it done? I think I'll have it done by then. We should be able to record Sunday night. It's no problem. And you sent me a text Saturday night saying, saw the episode, done with the poster, here it is. I was just like, well, this is awesome. Like, clearly it didn't take long for inspiration to strike.
I just, because I always, I work fast, and I always tell people that's a professional reality, when you're a
Sure.
designer, part, obviously you have to be able to do the work, but really have to be able to do the work in a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And to really do this professionally, and to make it worth your while. So I tend to work fast, but I do, sometimes I do get that sort of like, voice in the back of my mind where it's like, okay, I got an actual deadline here for this thing. Am I going to be able to crank it out? And yeah, it wasn't too bad. Should we show people
Yes.
the poster?
We should absolutely do that. I mean, that's one of the main reasons that we're here, quite frankly. All this other stuff has been preamble as far as I'm concerned. I wanted to, of course, make the official announcement about the new logo, wanted to announce the collaboration, talk about and preview the Daleks episode that we'll do for the Doctor Who 60th. But honestly, most importantly, and something that we are going to do going forward, whenever we have the opportunity with the Quantum Leap episode, is do these preview episodes, which give us an opportunity to talk maybe just a little bit of non-spoiler talk about the episode, but most importantly, preview the poster. So you can kind of expect that going forward. Just for the sake of anyone who's curious, I agree with everything JJ said, and you'll be able to hear my complete thoughts, of course, Wednesday after the episode airs. All of that said, it is time for the main event, because the main event is the reveal of JJ Lendl's poster for Quantum Leap Secret History, which airs November 15th at 8/7 Central on NBC. JJ, take it away.
All right, I'll do the honors here. Again, this was a really fun episode, and this was a great. Yeah, sometimes you're designing something, based on a piece of media, a television or episode or a film, and you're not quite sure what direction it's going to go in. But this one kind of designed itself for me, and it's a fun, cast poster. So let's see, there she is. I won't say too much about it, since I try not to make my posters spoilery in any way. I think of them as teasers themselves for episodes or films. So I think it's a nice image to go into the episode having without knowing anything else about the episode. And the episode itself is a great ensemble piece. So I wanted to make a
Yes.
poster that was reminiscent of that fact.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love the way that everyone is featured, and again, I mean, it's just it's a perfect tease for the episode, and it's one of those things that I think people seeing it for the first time right now prior to viewing the episode will have their certainly their interest peaked in multiple ways, but when they come back to it after having viewed the episode, it will become all the more richer. And I just think it's a great piece. I was so excited when I saw it, and I really, it was one of those images that immediately I was like, let's put this on t-shirts, mugs, like this is the perfect, it really is. It's one of those images that I feel like could go anywhere and look really, really nicely. I know without a doubt that will absolutely join the two behind me, because I definitely want to be able to put that up there, because the episode is just so much fun and so great and deserving of an image of this quality, and I think it works really, really well.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, and this poster will be available in the Fates Wide Wheel storefront. And here, I'll stop sharing this, and I will share something else. We're gonna have that, and I didn't share this with you yet, Sam.
I
And
know,
we're
it's
gonna
a
have
surprise.
T-shirts. So,
yes.
this is something that I'm
Perfect.
gonna now that we've got this collaboration with Fates Wide Wheel in the studio, I'm gonna try to offer T-shirts for every episode as well, based on the episode art from the poster. In most cases, they'll be very close, but designing T-shirt graphics is kind of its own art form apart from posters. This one
Sure.
really lent itself to being a T-shirt, so there wasn't a lot of kind of design tweaks I need to make. But keep an eye out for that in the storefront too. You can find that link through fateswidewheel.com.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so excited about to be able to share that space with you, and I feel really grateful with your generosity in sharing that space, because it gives the the show opportunity, obviously, to continue to grow and get better. And obviously, my hope is that it benefits you as well, that it can that it
No,
can certainly be an opportunity for both of us to continue growing.
yeah, I mean, like, everything you're saying directed back to you. You know, it's exciting to partner with the podcast, and with you, Sam, and I like the idea of some of this pop culture inspired art that I've been making, having a home and being connected to the podcast, and hopefully folks will find the podcast and find the art, and hopefully folks will want these prints on their walls, or they'll want to wear these T-shirts out, and whatever else crazy stuff we come up with for the storefront in the future. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just hope folks like it.
I can't imagine that they won't like it, because I mean, honestly, if anything has been clear since the beginning when you started doing this in the first season, the response has been great. And I know I've become genuinely just such a big fan of your work, and it was all because you started doing these Quantum Leap posters, and now I own multiple posters, and not just the Quantum Leap ones. I have the Strange New Worlds posters, which I need to get frames for, but I love the work, and I love the opportunity to collaborate on something like this, because as anyone who's listened to the podcast knows, I mean, I genuinely, I'm an artist, and I kind of put my brain in that space before any other. And so to have the opportunity to collaborate with another artist in such a unique way, I think will be a lot of fun, and it just made a lot of sense. And yeah, I want people to be able to just enjoy kind of the fruits of this collaboration, because again, the other thing that's really exciting about it is the fact that the podcast gets to go in some new directions. People are going to get to see some cool new work from you, and I can't see that any other way than as a win-win.
Well, good. Well, and we'll see what everybody else on the internet says. So we'll find out
Yeah,
soon.
that place can be scary sometimes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so in addition to all of
You
this, one
know,
of the other things.
we should talk about talking about the art and the collaboration. We should talk about your Patreon as well.
Yes, exactly, and that's exactly where I wanted to go next, is because one of the really cool
I
things
blew
about
your
all of
transition.
this.
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
the
it's
worst.
totally fine. Hey, you know what? We're learning here. You know, we're going to
Right.
work out and iron out all these kinks. It's only going to get better from here. Um, but no, in all seriousness, one of the other really cool things about the collaboration is it's given us the opportunity to kind of start to think on ways that we can improve, you know, the Patreon experience. And the chief way that we saw doing that through the collaboration was the opportunity to offer some unique behind the scenes videos on your process in putting together these posters. And that's going to kick off with the secret history poster. So if you go to fateswidewheel.com or you go to patreon.com/fateswidewheel, whatever way, and you become a Patreon member, whatever, you know, donation level you want, you will get access to these special behind the scenes videos, which I'm really excited about. JJ, do you want to talk a little bit about what people can expect?
Yeah. You know, I have my own Patreon, which I've been running. It's something that I started in the wake of lockdown for COVID, and been running that ever since. And I've been offering behind the scenes looks at a lot of the pieces that I make. But you know, with talking with you and, you know, Fate's Wide Wheel having a Patreon, and, you know, you sort of like growing this fan base for the podcast, it made sense for maybe some behind the scenes stuff specifically for Quantum Leap and the other things that we're going to collaborate on to live on that Patreon. And so, you know, what you can expect, and this is something that I do mostly through posts on my Patreon, is take folks through step by step the creative process on working on a piece of art, from inspirations for the artwork, the tone, and then just getting down to the nitty gritty of like how I put these things together, changes that happen along the way, and hopefully you'll find that process interesting. And the thing that I'm really excited about, Sam, is the new format for this, for myself at least. Being able to sort of do this on video, to have someone to talk to and to talk through the process with, because, you know, being an artist can be somewhat of a solitary assignment sometimes.
Sure.
So, you know, having someone to sort of like speak with, and who's interested in this stuff, is a real treat for me, and I'm hoping, you know, is a treat for your patrons as well.
Yeah, I really think that folks are going to enjoy it, and it'll be, again, just another unique way to kind of engage with the artwork and with the show, and you know, with the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing. And I really, I again, you know, I'm looking forward to it. And that's I think the mindset that sometimes you have to have anytime you're producing any, you know, anything really for that matter, is this something that I'm going to enjoy, you know? Because if I don't enjoy it, then how can I possibly expect anyone else to enjoy it? And for me personally, I'm going to enjoy getting this look and doing it in this way. You know, and I subscribe to your Patreon, and I've absolutely, you know, read through some of this stuff. So it's going to be exciting to now see that in a different format, and to be able to offer that to folks. You know, as a Patreon exclusive is going to be really cool. And I think that, again, with not only the Quantum Leap posters, but with some of the other stuff that's kind of, you know, germinating, it's going to be really cool. And again, I hope that people will start to really see the potential, for, you know, for Fate's Wide Wheel to go anywhere and do anything, because that's certainly something that, you know, from the very, very, very beginning, literally, that's something that I always kind of envisioned. And to be able to
Yeah.
start to take it there, while still supporting and talking about and loving this amazing, you know, show that's on the air right now, will be a lot of fun. And hopefully it'll, you know, it'll find some unique connections along the way, both within and without.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this new chapter in the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm the one that should be thanking you. So with all of that said, you know, again, you can head over to fateswidewheel.com. You'll see the new webpage. You'll see kind of easy, clean, you know, pathway to anything and everything through the site, including the Patreon, so that you can subscribe to that and get access to the behind the scenes videos, as well as other content that will be coming soon. You can also head over to the store that lives over at Studio J.J, and you'll be able to see these items, including the secret history poster and the t-shirt. Gilbert. So it's all going to be out there. As you're watching this video, it'll be live. You can go, you can check it out. And please, yeah, I mean, give us your feedback. We would love to hear what what you think about this. If there's things that you're interested in seeing or hearing about, feel free to throw them out there. Again, we're already thinking about quite a few things, but I love the feedback. I love the communication, the engagement. I'm always grateful for that. So feel free to do that as it concerns this new chapter. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, Quantum Leap is not getting left behind by any stretch. Wednesday, not only will I have my full review of Secret History, but you will also be getting exclusive interview with Eliza Taylor, who plays Hannah Carson, which I'm really, really excited to share. I've already shared a couple preview clips online, and people seem to be really enjoying that. So you'll get to hear some in-depth thoughts from her about the character. Also joining us was Dean Georgeris, executive producer, co-showrunner, and writer for the show. Dean had a lot of really great stuff to say, in particular about the transition from season 1 to season 2. And then Drew Lindo, the writer of Secret History, was there as well. And Drew had just loads of great tidbits about the episode, including some wonderful Easter eggs. So be on the lookout as you're watching the episode, because there's some pretty cool stuff that he's kind of hidden in there, if you will. Some of it's hidden in plain sight. But I'm really looking forward to sharing that and then sharing my thoughts on the episode. And you're going to just, quite frankly, see some more. That my plan is to release more videos over on the YouTube. You'll still get the weekly podcast, which will hold the the episode reviews and interviews and that sort of stuff. But check out the YouTube for all the latest, because there's going to be an increase in the videos that you'll see. But yeah, I think with all that, JJ, do you have anything else? I know you got a couple things that you're working on right now. Do you want to talk at all about any of that?
Oh, some things I can't talk about just yet, but
Damn those NDAs.
fun projects coming down the line. I just had one thing that was announced. I can't share art for it yet, but I'm collaborated with Rittenhouse and HBO to do some Game of Thrones episode posters for an upcoming trading card series for the show. And I think that's coming out in December. So a couple of those images have been teased via Rittenhouse, and I shared a couple on my social media channels. So if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, if you like episode artwork with a retro flair, check that out. Got some other stuff in the pipeline, but really I'm just super excited about some of the stuff that Face Wide Wheel and Studio J.J will be collaborating on in the future, and I will definitely be shouting that from the internet rooftops. So make sure you follow me at JJ Lendl at all of those places on your phone and on the clickety type, and more coming soon.
Excellent. Absolutely. Yes. Follow JJ, follow Fate's Wide Wheel. You can find it at Fate's Wide Wheel over on Twitter or Instagram, any of the things. And you can also follow me, Sam Fain, on TikTok. That's where I'll be posting, all the Fate's Wide Wheel content going forward. And you'll be able to be kept up to date, of course, through the YouTube channel. So make sure you're going over there, you're subscribing, liking, commenting, watching the videos, getting the channel to where it needs to go, so that I can start doing some cool, fun stuff over there. So if you've not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, go over there and do that. You'll get notifications anytime a new video is posted. And if you don't want to do that, you can, of course, just mute the notifications, but subscribe. It's very important. And welcome, of course, to all of the new subscribers, because there have been quite a few of you over the past month. I really appreciate that. Welcome to anyone who has found the show through Instagram. I know that recently one of the Eliza Taylor preview videos that I posted had something like 4,000 or 5,000 views, and there were a bunch of new followers. So if you're coming from there, thank you so very much. I really look forward to sharing that interview with Eliza going forward. And I think there's a good chance, pretty good chance, we'll see, that she's going to come back and do another episode later on, which would be a lot of fun to chat with her again. Already got guests lined up for for more episodes. So again, yeah, the YouTube channel is going to be one of your best outlets to kind of make sure you're getting all of the content as soon as it drops, and all the videos, all the interviews, etc. And then check out the Patreon for some of the exclusives, including the behind the scenes videos on the creation of the episode posters with JJ Lendl. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do that. In fact, if I'm being completely honest, we're going to go do that right now. So thank you all so very much. Thank you, JJ. It's always awesome to have you here, and of course, you'll be seeing a lot more of JJ in the future here on Fates Wide Wheel. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, stay safe out there, and always remember, leap responsibly.